All right, Jason Rantz now, Seattle radio talk show host. Jason, I know you were perched to listen to the facts. I want to add this into the mix. So the Democrats politically seem to hope for some migration, but a different kind. I'm going to call it a migrating perception, that they actually care more about people coming across the border than Republicans, because I keep hearing them say, from Mayors Muriel Bowser to Eric Adams, we care about the people. We're going to take care of them. Who do you think has been feeding those babies? Who do you think has been putting the masks on the people to protect us and them from COVID as they cross the border? Who do you think's pulling them out of the Rio Grande when they go down on those slippery rocks? We've had lawmakers stand there when our Border Patrol put themselves in harm's way to go save them. Republicans care?
They do. I think what we're seeing here is a literal virtue signal, right? I mean, you had all these Democrats come out and say how they were so evolved on the issue of immigration, that they are compassionate, that they care. Come to our cities, come to our states. We are sanctuaries for you. We want you here. Of course, they don't actually want them there. They want to give the perception that they care more than they actually have to show that they care. To your point, the Republicans have been taking the brunt of all of this. They've been providing the resources, the support, the compassion for folks. And for the most part, we've heard pretty much nothing from Democrats other than how evil the Republicans are. The second that you get 14 folks coming to New York City, it's horrific. Why is it horrific? I was told that that kind of language is xenophobic. So, Mayor Adams, are you a xenophobe, or are you going to allow all these people to show up into your city?
Oh, let's just rest there for a moment, because the hypocrisy is only makes room after we get that whole migrating perception out of the way of who cares about whom. Now we got room for hypocrisy. And how does that play politically exactly? You're the federal government. You want to sick the IRS on your people, but you don't want to help out your own party's people with their migration problems now by flowing cash and resources. How's that going to go over in the Democrat Party?
Yeah, it's really interesting because you have two different sort of political realities here. Number one, you have Latino voters in this country starting to shift pretty dramatically to the Republicans, in large part because they don't, in fact, support a borderless United States. They want folks to come into this country the legal way. On the other hand, you have hardcore progressives who are pretty much open border Democrats. And now you're saying you're not going to help the very people that you've encouraged to come into this country illegally with the promise of help. So I think politically speaking, it's going to be really interesting to see Democrats try to maneuver out of this. I think it's just bad optics to welcome people into your city and then immediately say it's horrific when they come. And I don't think that you can walk those kinds of statements back.
You know what it reminds me of? When Vice President Kamala Harris, at the very beginning of her becoming the czar of the border, or whatever her title was, she said, don't come. Do you remember that? And all the people who were just so angry, particularly to the far left, that she would say that out loud. And then she, of course, had to fix it and say, of course you can come. So it is tricky for Democrats, apparently. It's tricky when it's messaged, too. The Los Angeles City Council letting voters decide now whether to house the homeless in empty hotel rooms in 2024. However, hotel owners are pushing back. Aside from safety concerns, many owners are worried properties will face damage similar to when hotels were used as isolation shelters during the pandemic.
They're asking us to combine both populations in a hotel, the paying guests and those that have hotel vouchers that will be issued by the city. And our great concern is the safety of our guests, our staff, and also our neighbors that surround the business communities.
Even Squad member Ilhan Omar, Congresswoman in Minnesota, says she's shocked by the homelessness and crime in Democrat-run Minneapolis.
The level of homelessness that we have, right? 5 years, nearly 5 years into the term of the mayor of Minneapolis who promised to end homelessness is shocking. No one would ever stand for that. There is no way any other city would be okay with that. People would riot. People would be angry.
Oh my gosh, no one would stand for it? She said it's been going on for 5 years. Where's she been?
Yeah, has she visited literally any Democrat-run city where this has been happening for much longer than 5 years? So to start in L.A., this idea is absolutely ludicrous. Imagine for a moment you're taking your family to L.A., you're finally able to afford a vacation, $249 a night, and you realize that the neighbor is smoking fentanyl in that hotel room and causing problems. The reason why people are homeless has nothing to do merely with the fact that they are without a home. They are homeless because of the reason why they are without a home. There is an underlying issue there that needs to get addressed. Sometimes it has to do with drug addiction, sometimes mental health issues that are not being treated. But if you do not treat that, if you do not provide the services for that, simply putting them in a home simply means you're putting them in a hotel room for one night, and they're going to immediately revert back to the same behavior that ultimately is going to kill them. So how about we actually take this seriously, not ruin businesses, not ruin hotels. Part of this rule, or part of this program, would be to let them know by 2 p.m. the city when you have open rooms, which is also absurd. I can imagine people who clearly don't check into hotels until after 2 p.m. showing up and being like, why did you give my room to this person?
Yeah, well, look, there can always be unintended circumstances, collateral damage, as you were saying, when you mix a population that potentially, we don't know the circumstances of every homeless person, but from the syringes they're finding on the grounds here in Brooklyn and other areas of the 5 boroughs of New York. I mean, there are a lot of drugs out there among these people who are living on the streets. And if any of it is fentanyl, we know just a little bit can kill a whole square block. And now you're going to put that in an encapsulated room in a hotel with other people. I mean, talk about potential for a disaster. They've got to figure this out. But look, Ilhan Omar lived with it for 5 years before she complained. All right, Jason Rantz, thank you.